Today, I'm revealing the top 10 secret abandoned places in Iowa. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of abandoned places in Iowa, so make sure you like if you want to see a part 2. Today's list is going to start off easy, and the spots are going to get cooler and cooler as the list goes on, so make sure you stay until the end. With that being said, the first spot on our list is Oak Park Academy Boarding School in Nevada. Oak Park Academy Boarding School was built by the Seventh-day Adventist Church in 1911. T.H.J.'s founded the school in 1902 under the name Iowa Industrial Academy. For the first year, classes were held for its inaugural class of 35 students in the rented Baldum Hotel in Stort. The following year, they moved to a piece of farmland on the eastern edge of town. The name later changed to Stort Academy. In 1911, the school was renamed Oak Park Academy and moved to Nevada, where it remained until its closure in the spring of 1980. Iowa Brickyard in Lehigh. Lehigh, a small town in Webster County, was built upon two major industries: coal mines and brickyards. Brickyards made clay from shale excavated at the local coal mines. Formed into bricks and drain tile, the clay was baked in kilns heated by coal from the same mines. Most of the structures that currently occupy the site were built in the 1950s and 60s, with the final additions made in the late 70s. At some point, the Lehigh Brick and Tile Company became Iowa Brick. It operated under the name until the facility closed in the 1980s. Roseanne Barr's mansion in Eldon. Roseanne Barr and Tom Arnold were married in 1990 and had met years earlier and worked together on The Roseanne Show. In 1993, Tom and Roseanne decided to build a country retreat outside Eldon, which is near Ottumwa, where Tom grew up. The pair opened a diner in Eldon named Roseanne and Tom's Big Food Diner. As news broke of trouble in the marriage in 1994, construction was halted. The progress was put on hold until further notice. As the couple divorced, neither Tom or Roseanne wanted to pay to finish the home. In 1995, the land and unfinished home was gifted to Indian Hills Community College. The land was sold in 2012 to a private owner. The decaying mansion now sits in the middle of a farm, far from any roads. It is rotting and decaying. It costs too much to demolish and remove the mansion, so for now, nature is reclaiming the home. Clutier Public School in Clutier. It was extremely hard to find information on this school, because it's located in such a discreet rural town. The school was built in 1925 and closed after the 1961 school year, when the school was consolidated with Traer to form Traer Clutier. The Clutier Trojans' Zex girls basketball team were the 1942 state champions, capping an undefeated season back in the days of six-player basketball, and won class for all schools at the state tournament. Grandview Terrace in West Davenport. Founded in 1895, the Rock Island-based society did much toward creating financial security for women at a time when other fraternal benefit societies were for men only. The building was designed by the Davenport architectural firm of Clausen, Cruz & Klein. Royal Neighbors members who were eligible turned over their assets to the society in exchange for being able to live in the home until they died. In time, the society determined that providing senior housing was not part of its core mission and closed the home on October 1, 2004. With accommodations for 52 residents, the home had 34 when it closed. The property has been owned by Carver Blackwell Holdings since December 2013. The 40,000 square foot Georgian-style retirement home operated until 2004 by Royal Neighbors of America in West Davenport. The abandoned building and the 78 acres it sits on is now sitting in a state of decay and is listed for sale for $700,000. Dysart Geneseo Consolidated School in Geneseo Township. Like I said before, it's extremely hard to find information on these small town schools, but here's what I was able to find. The school was built in 1920 of red brick, and the school once housed a state championship qualifying basketball team. Searsboro Consolidated School in Searsboro. Little information is publicly available about the school's history, though it likely closed as a result of a trend towards consolidation that began in the 1960s and continued well into the 1980s. The main door is no longer attached to its frame. Based on the condition of the interior, the years of weather have been extremely harsh on the facility. Radio station building in Des Moines. KGGO is a classic rock radio station based in Des Moines, Iowa. It is located at 94.9 on the FM band. Stoner Broadcasting, owner of KGGO, owned the site with KDWZ as a tenant in the 1980s. A lightning strike caused a fire at the dual site, forcing both stations to operate at reduced power from backup sites for a couple months. Effective as of 2002, Saga Communications, owner of 93.3 KIOA, has purchased the site. KGGO is still on the tower as a tenant, but the property now sits abandoned and available for lease. Waterloo Greyhound Park in Waterloo. The National Cattle Congress was founded in 1910 and it held annual agricultural events. In In the 1980s, the nonprofit organization faced serious financial problems. It was decided that they urgently needed to think up a new profitable event. In 1984, the NCC president suggested that a Greyhound race course using the pari-mutuel betting system would help increase revenues for its annual events. In the same year, Congress was able to obtain a license from the state to build and operate a racetrack for this purpose. Construction took 2 years and it was completed in 1986. Then, Waterloo Greyhound Park was opened to the public. In its first year, the park made a profit of $600,000, and the Cattle Congress made a net gain of $519,000. In 1989, the NCC admitted that if the track was not profitable, then the bank would take over not only the track, but also the NCC. In 1991, although the track itself made a profit of $240,000, the NCC actually made a loss of $371,000. In 1992, the Meskwaki Casino opened in Tama, Iowa, only a 30-minute drive from Waterloo. The casino was designed in the style of Las Vegas, and people were attracted more to the glamorous gambling it offered than to the park. The introduction of slot machines to the park was too late, and the racetrack finally closed in July 1996. VA Hospital in Knoxville. In 1902, the State Hospital for Inebriates was opened. Iowa Governor Cummings stated the hospital shall be used for the detention and treatment of all male persons addicted to the excessive use of morphine, cocaine, or other narcotic drugs. When the inmates of this institution broke the rules, they were treated harshly. The townspeople found the State Hospital for Inebriates so disagreeable that it was abandoned within a few years. Colonel Barr of the U.S. Public Health Service was commissioned to investigate the idle plant at Knoxville. His assignment was to see if it could serve as a temporary hospital for disabled veterans. Following World War I, the PHS took over the hospital from the state. On August 21, 1920, 125 disabled veterans were brought to Knoxville, to a facility that had a bed capacity of over 171 at the time. Several buildings were erected over the next 20-plus years. In 1945, the Veterans Home that initially housed 125 disabled veterans had increased in size to a 1,600-bed hospital. World War II brought many problems to the VA hospital. Immediately after Pearl Harbor, VA patients from San Francisco and Los Angeles were relocated to a safer location inland. About 7,000 VA employees left in the first year to join the war effort in other capacities. Early in 1945, national media began to attack VA healthcare. This led to the signing of Public Law 293 on January 3, 1946, creating the VA Healthcare Administration. By May 1946, the VA was in significant growth mode. From 1942 to 1950, the number of VA hospitals jumped from 97 to 151. Over the years, Knoxville VA has offered a full range of mental health, rehabilitation, and long-term care to veterans from a large geographical area of the Midwest. Secretary of Veterans Affairs Anthony J. Principe announced on January 7, 2005 that the Knoxville facility would close. The last Knoxville patients were moved to the new extended care building in Des Moines on December 18, 2009. Those are the top 10 abandoned places in Iowa. Like and subscribe if you want to see a part 2. Thank you for watching.